My name is Cynthia Plaster Caster. I'm a proud plaster caster of Chicago, born and bred. My first concert that I ever saw was at the amphitheater, International Amphitheater by the Stockyards in Chicago, where the Beatles played. And then my second rock concert was at McCormick Place before it burned down, of perhaps the Hollies or the Yardbirds or the Animals, one of those three, I'm not sure. It's all a mad rock and roll blur. Yeah, I definitely got the bug when I tried to meet the Rolling Stones. I got their autographs, and I didn't see they weren't playing, they were recording 12 by 5 in Chicago. And what was really exciting was that their manager, Andrew Goldham, almost shot my girlfriend because he was very drunk, and while I was waiting for her in the lobby. And the idea of this happening upstairs to my friend was so exciting that I wanted to keep on meeting more cute mop-top boys, because this exciting life was the life for me. I was a shy, fledgling, virginal, goofy girl that wanted to get laid by cute British boys with long hair and tight pants, but I wasn't experienced or seductive, and the only way I could go about getting the zippers down was had to be in a goofy, funny way. And I discovered that way when I was an art major in college, when my art teacher told me to make a plaster cast as my homework assignment of something that could retain its shape, something solid, he said, as in hard. And I'd heard through the grapevine that penises got solid, although I had yet to see that happen. So I took up the subject with Mark Lindsay of Paul Revere and the Raiders, who was in town that very night, and he was happy to help me with my homework assignment, except that the material my art teacher told me to use to make the negative impression was sand and water, which was not going to be conducive to a solid state of penis. But that's okay, not important. More importantly, I lost my virginity to Mark Lindsay. It's just as a result of talking about it. And I had gotten all the attention from all the other groupie competition that weekend, and it was fun and funny, and we were the talk of the Dick Clark caravan of stars, my friend and I, and thus that weekend, the Plaster Casters of Chicago were born. Well, the Plaster Casters of Chicago, the first were me and my friend Barbara. But we weren't active plaster casters, we were wannabes. We were going around from hotel to hotel with a suitcase because we wanted to look like professional traveling saleswomen. That was going to be our shtick, just to get the attention and to get interest in being guinea pigs for our project. And believe me, we were at no loss for people willing to try it out, because that was back then during the sexual revolution. It was very well. You had a social obligation to dip your dick into something new and different, and we had something different for dipping. But we didn't. We still had yet to find out what that magical product would be to dip the dick into. It wasn't going to be sand and water. It wasn't going to be wax or aluminum foil as we had hoped, or clay. No, it was going to be dental mold. That alginate product that dentists put in your mouth when they're making an impression of your mouth, that insurance agent turned me on to, who I was working with. And I learned about that just in time for Jimi Hendrix, who was coming to town. And he was my first real rock star that dipped his dick, and it was unbelievable. We were the groupies that got to the hotel first, and we were the only groupies in Jimi Hendrix's room, and we had a chance to. Well, it wasn't our very first cast. I had tried it out on a few civilians first, be ready for Jimmy. Anyway, he's my biggest, and no, he's not my biggest. There are biggerish others, but I couldn't say whether or not he's my most exciting, because They're my sweet babies, and I am their mama, and I don't want, I'm very democratic with all my babies. I don't like to play favorites. I love them all, and all the experiences were equally exciting and weird and different from each other. I've done about a total of somewhere between 55 and 60 successful casts. I've probably attempted to do it maybe around 70 times. Attempting to mix that mold just right. And I'm sorry to say I've had some mold failures on some very groovy people. Sorry, but so I've got some very good-looking penis casts, and I also have breast casts now, about a dozen or so pairs. Women play the music that I love a lot, and that's the body part I choose to capture of women. The goofy, bouncy, bulbous body part. Some of the women are, the first women's pair of tits were Susie of L7, and the most recent is Karen O of Yeah Yeah Yeahs. And I've got Letitia of Stereolab and the Demolition Doll Rods. The band, the Demolition Doll Rods of Detroit, are the only band I have captured in its entirety, including Danny's penis. And I would have gotten if I'd gotten Mitch Mitchell, I would have had all the Jimi Hendrix experience. But I captured also, in the penis division, Zalyanovsky of the Love and Spoonful, Wayne Kramer and Dennis Thompson of the MC5, Tony, what's his name? Tony of the bass player in Savoy Brown, Jello Biafra and Anthony Newley and John Langford of the Mekons, and most recently Ariel Pink of Ariel Pink's Haunted Graffiti. Well, I am getting old, I admit, but I'm not ready to retire quite yet, but I am willing to pass the gauntlet on to someone, not, a few people. I'm not sure who. In my book, I'm going to outline the whole process, but I'd like to, have a hands-on teaching seminar with future castees. It's a big world. There's plenty of music that I don't like personally that someone else should capture, I think, and plaster the penises of.